Hi, friends! Welcome back to Dubster Dive. I'm Elvis X, and this time I'm joined by...
Manslayergoku.
And we're here to finish what we started back a few months ago. Saint Seiya, because the audio on it was kind of fucked. It's okay, though. This time, make sure it's not.
And I'm not going to be half dead either.
Well, for those who don't know, Saint Seiya is a manga written by Masami Kurumata, and an anime that aired from 1986 until April 1989 from Toei. It's a long-running shonen like Dragon Ball and all of them. And yeah, it took it ages to get a full English dub. So, in October of 2002, Otakon, looks like October to me, ADV announced that they'd have the rights to dub Saint Seiya. But then in June of 2003, when it aired, it was confirmed that Dick owned partial license to it over here. Or Deke. You know, people hunt Sailor Moon. And they would give it Goku's favorite theme song by Bowling for Soup. Right, Goku? Only 32 of the 40 planned episodes from Deke would air before it was cancelled. Making things even more stupid is ADV would have their own uncut dub that aired alongside it from 2003 up until 2005, where only 60 episodes of it were recorded. Again, due to Deke's licensing, no more were recorded. And then ADV would go out of business in September of 2009, taking Saint Seiya's license along with it. Until years later, Discotek and Eastern Star would then license Saint Seiya, only putting out subtitled releases. Why is this show have such a bad track record with this shit? But don't worry, because Netflix would announce in 2017 they got the rights to Saint Seiya, and they would be remaking it in a shitty CGI series. Oh, God. That crappy CGI remake, which I ranted about before, the audio screwed up on that one, but I'm not watching that show again to find out everything I said on it. I'll just put it this way. It sucks. Aired in July 2019, and it was universally hated by most of the Seiya fandom at large. So much so that they outcried for the original to go up on Netflix, and Netflix surprisingly delivered. So in October of last year, we got the first 41 episodes of Saint Seiya. And as of last month, we got all of it now. Everything all the way up to the Poseidon arc, which is the original run, 114 episodes of Saint Seiya, is here. Well, Goku, after 34 years, Saint Seiya finally has a full dub.
Like I said, this has been a long time coming, basically. Like I said, it was kind of stupid having two different dubs at the time from Deke and AVD films at the same time. People were so confused and not funny. I didn't even know that was a normal Deke one until you said something, because I always saw the AVD film ones.
Yeah, the Deke one's the one with the Bowling for Soup thing that you saw, where they replaced all of the blood with weird bluish-green stuff?
They made them like there was aliens or some stuff.
I couldn't even find any episodes of the Deke thing. I could only find clips of it on YouTube.
I found it one time, but since the new variation came out, a lot of people got rid of it and just been showing the new ones.
Now, for those that are wondering what Saint Seiya is all about, basically it borrows heavily from Greek mythos. The whole thing of the 5 saints that are the protagonists have to guard the goddess Athena and keep the peace in the world. I say 5, but I know someone's going to point out, but it says there's 88. Yeah, but we only follow mainly 5 of them. It's 5 that are the protagonists, the Bronze Saints, or Bronze Knights. And all of them have their own varying goals and personality. For example, at the beginning, Seiya's whole goal is he wants to search for his sister. Yoga wants to prove his worth to his mother and free her from the frozen block of ice that she's in. Then you have Shun, who wants to prove that he's able to stand on his own and have the qualities of a man. And he got dealt really dirty in the reboot. We'll get more on that later. Next, you have Shiryu, who again wants to prove himself worthy to inherit his master's legacy. And then there's Iki, who's basically the show's equivalent of Sasuke. Again, we'll get into that in the spoilers section. So, soon after the show begins, shit happens where you have evil saints that are trying to overthrow Athena and take her down. Thus, Seiya and everyone else is forced to step in. Things get more complicated from there, and again, it's a really interesting show. You should all watch it. It was one of the big inspirations for stuff like Naruto and Bleach, and those who've seen it going back and watching Seiya will be able to point out everything that they borrow immediately. But moving on from that, Goku, tell us how good the animation looks now that you've seen everything on the Netflix version. Because I believe they use the Blu-ray versions, don't they?
Yes, they use the Blu-ray versions. Like I said, the visuals back in the day when they used DVD quality versus the Blu-ray quality, you could tell the difference that the blood's more crisp and cleaner, the damage on their cloths are better shown, the cracks are better, and all this other stuff. Basically, they brighten it up. It used to be a dark mess.
Yeah. Should mention that the Saints also have to use armor to get their powers, and they call their energy Cosmos. Again, it's the whole star constellation, so Seiya's the Pegasus, Hyoga is the Swan or Cygnus constellation, and they all have varying abilities. Seiya's kind of like a speedster, Hyoga uses ice, as an example.
And also the show's got a lot of strobe lighting effects, so if you're photosensitive, stay away from the show, please.
Yeah, seizure procedure inbound. Then again, Dragon Ball has that too a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, look at Pokemon, what happened? Just that one episode triggered a mass hysteria.
Speaking of the cloths, it should also be mentioned it's implied that they're alive, so those who've also seen Bleach will notice, oh hey, it's where they got the whole Zanpakuto thing from too, huh? And the power scaling in the show is done decently well, with bronze, silver, gold Saints. It's easy to tell, okay, so gold Saints are clearly at the top of the Saints power level.
Yes, they're on the main chain. Basically, the bronze is like a little small power, silver's like a big boost, like a medium power boost, and the gold is like main level power. But the other there's two higher beings of that, which is the Pope and Athena. Them are the ones that are high. Yeah, the gods too.
Well, I guess next we'll get into the music, which I actually didn't mind the OST in this. It has that whole 80s action kung fu flick vibe to it, like you're watching a Bruce Lee movie when they're fighting. So I'm sure some people are like, oh no, I like modern OST. But I didn't mind the OST in this. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's kind of...
I thought it got better as it went on, too. Like, some of the later arcs OST was really well done.
See, the thing is, when the first show came out, they really didn't have the budget for music and that. Then as time went on in Japan, they got more and more budget to get more and more music for it and all this other stuff. It was like a trial and error in Japan for it. But once it got big in Japan, then they got a big budget. Like Hollywood, almost Hollywood budget, they said.
Well, I guess let's move on to why we call this Dubster Dive before we get into the spoiler section. First, we have Seiya, who, in the ADV dub was voiced by Illich Guardiola. Oh, great. We're gonna have to talk about that eventually when we cover the ADV dub. But in the Netflix dub, he's voiced by Bryson Boglis, or some people might know him as Bell from Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
Or Damachi for short.
And I think he's actually a perfect match for Seiya. At the time of doing this, we just finished playing a Saint Seiya game, so after hearing all the Japanese voice actors, I would say Bryson's a really good fit for him. I'm guessing you don't have any complaints about him either.
No. Like I said, they got all the good... They got everybody except for one person that I wish was still dubbing a certain character.
Next, we have Shiryu, voiced by Blake Shepard. As most people know him, Soma from Food Wars. We've also covered him before in other shows, such as Man in Gilgamesh. That show will just leave. It needs to leave me alone. But unlike Gilgamesh, he sounds like he's having a lot of fun here, and does a masterful performance. Again, perfect match. After that, we have Hyoga, voiced by Patrick Poole? Someone, to my knowledge, from what I looked up, isn't in all that much. But I could say as Hyoga, he does a fantastic job. Next, we have Iki, voiced by Adam Gibbs, and this is probably the most perfect match they could have gotten, honestly. After hearing his Japanese voice for a few hours and then going to the dub, I think he did a perfect job as Iki. And I saved the best for last, Goku, out of the 5 mains. Okay, so it's time to talk about what they did to Shun real quick. So, Shun, in this dub, is voiced by Andrew Sebastian, who, again, I can't find much on. I'm sure someone will point out in the comments other shit he was in, but I couldn't find anything. However, in the reboot, which uses the same dub cast that Netflix put out, Shun is now Sean and is now a woman. I have no idea why they went about doing this. Netflix said something more about more female representation. That's kind of stupid when you already have characters like Marin, Athena, and numerous others. But Sean, reboot, I guess, for those that are curious, is Lucy Christian. Again, I don't have a problem with her performance, it just doesn't work since Sean is, again, a dude. So, Shun, the canon name, Andrew Sebastian does a good job as him. I don't think you have any problems with anyone on this cast list, do you?
Nope.
Last, we have Saori, voiced by Emily Neves, or Chelsea from Akame ga Kill. She's in a bunch of other shit too. Like Kakurayo, Bed and Breakfast, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And does a good job of making Saori sound relatable, yet also really powerful when she needs to be, or vulnerable. It should be noted some of the other voice actors here. We have Dave Matrenga voicing Pope Ares, Clifford Shafum, who is Bakugo, voicing Poseidon, and some of the other standouts are Hilary Haga Shunrei. You also have Kagi, or Alejandro Suave, as I like to call him, voicing Scorpio, and John Swayze and David Wald make an appearance as well. Unfortunately, the only minor criticism I have for this dub is they don't dub the background voices a lot of the time. I don't know if you noticed that, Goku. They're talking.
Yes, I noticed. I heard a little bit of Japanese going on in the background. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I think that's, from what I heard, a problem with Sentai, which is the ones who dubbed this. They don't dub the Walla, as it's known. The background voices you'll hear, characters will be talking in English in the background, you'll just hear arigato, etc. It's just really strange. And I guess a personal nitpick is one of the Saints, Jabu, in the ADB dub is Vic Mignogna. But sadly, he wasn't able to reprise his role for obvious reasons right now. I mean, the new guy is okay, it's just competing with Vic, he was already fighting an uphill battle. But again, that's personal preference on my part, because I'm a dick. I guess in closing, this dub is a really good dub. There's a few double castings here or there. You'll hear David Wald a few times, and Matt Shipman's another one who voices one of the Asgard people. You'll hear him a few times as well later on. But overall...
And there's a double casting in the Poseidon arc too.
Yeah. Dave Matrenga goes from voicing Pope Ares to voicing someone in that arc. But before we get into spoiler territory, I guess we'll just say, any minor negatives on it. Without going into spoilers, some of the filler episodes are a little weak, but not enough to completely drag the show down.
It's not Naruto filler.
No, it's not.
Bad.
I give this show a solid B+. As one of the 4 corner pillars of shonen up there with Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, and Fist of North Star, this is definitely a really good one.
See, I'm different in that respect. I'll give it an A. Because I have watched it since day one, from the sub version to now to one dub and this dub. So,
well, the other thing is, I'm pretty sure I gave it a lower grade too, but now that I've seen more of it, I was able to grade it higher. I haven't even finished it. Simply, I finished everything that's dubbed, but people are going to be quick to point out the Hades arc, which is the final arc of the manga, has not been dubbed yet.
Only in Mexico.
Yep, only in Spanish.
And other territories. It hasn't made its way to US yet. So, we'll probably have to revisit this again, and this time we'll dub it Hades, since that's listed as its own anime property. It's an OVA, basically. I guess quick history lesson on that. Saint Seiya was originally canceled in 1989 due to reasons. I'm assuming they wanted to prioritize Dragon Ball Z at the time. And it would eventually come back in 2001-2002 as Saint Seiya Hades, and be a series of OVAs to wrap up everything. See, this what happened. What I think what happened is because they took all the budget from Saint Seiya and dropped it on Dragon Ball. That's what happened. That's what I think, because, this show's going to be bigger than Saint Seiya, so let's take the budget off of Saint Seiya and put it on the Dragon Ball franchise. Sad part is, though, that was the right call. Saint Seiya will always live in the shadow of DBZ, and that's a real shame, because Saint Seiya, at times, has better plot presentation and storytelling than Dragon Ball. Like I said, I still think it's worth watching. But they don't spend, 20 episodes leading up to... they don't stretch out the fight for 20 episodes. I don't know. I think that's what makes the DBZ fight amazing, though. But yeah, guys, we're entering spoiler territory. Like I said, go watch it. It's all up on Netflix, and sadly, there is no physical version of this new dub, which I think Netflix should do. This is my gripe with Netflix. They don't do physical versions half the time. See, the thing is about Castlevania, they have physical versions of Castlevania. It's only select Blu-rays they do. Yeah, because then you have other shows like Little Witch Academia that don't. Right. Then, yeah. There's a lot of them. But alright. I think they only have, first... the Deadly Sins, the 7 Deadly Sins. Yeah, Season 1 of 7 Deadly Sins, the only one on physical media. Yeah, that's only one. That's it, on Netflix. That's all it is, just one set. No other sets haven't been Blu-rayed. Yeah, like I said, that's my gripe with Netflix, because eventually if this service, and trust me, it probably will in the next decade or so, collapses, the Saint Seiya dub is most likely gone along with it. Right. But yeah, so... He gave it an A, I give it a B+, go watch it. I highly recommend it, especially if you want to see what inspired a lot of the great shonens of the last 20 years. I think the reason why I gave it an A, because I'm an 80s kind of Well, you grew up with it, too. Yes. I grew up in the 80s. So, going into spoilers now, I think it's clear what the best arc is. The Sanctuary arc. Pretty sure everyone will agree on that. I don't know. You know, the one we just played in the game. Yeah. Which is, by the way, on my channel if you want to watch it. Yep. Streamed it over with him. It'll be up on our channel soon, hopefully. But, yeah. The Galaxian Tournament arc was the opener, so we'll start there, I guess. I thought was a good idea to open up with a tournament, because that is a perfect way to get you introduced to all the characters. And then you have Iki interrupting it, which kind of started the trend of tournaments getting interrupted during the second or third round. Mm-hmm. And
Honestly, I think Iki is probably one of the best written characters in the show, because I know you know his backstory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, Shun and Iki are not really blood brothers, but they, let's say, he really protects Shun a lot. Iki does. So he protected Iki from Shun from going to Death Queen Island, which is a very bad place to go for Shun for being so kind-hearted, basically. So that's why Iki went in his place, because he didn't want to see his brother get tore down because of it. Because when Iki comes back from there, he's a totally different person.
He's kind of fucked up. His mind was broken.
He was a bit. He was
Sasuke, basically.
Yeah, basically he lost somebody on Death Queen Island that he truthfully really, really, really loved. But the master of Death Queen Island had other plans because he was a dick.
Yep. It makes you wonder, this is one of the things I was wondering, when they were training the Saints, they send each one of them off to a different island to train. So, Seiya got to stay in Greece while a bunch of the other ones went off to their own thing. Why do you even have Death Queen Island as an option when they're like, no one who gets sent there ever returns, and if they do, they're not the same?
Yeah, see, here's the thing about that is, the Pegasus cloth was in Greece. The Swan cloth, the Cygnus cloth, was in Siberia. And I'm trying to think of what the other cloths. Shiryu's cloth was...
Yeah, the dragon cloth, which was in China.
Yeah, Rushan Rising Falls, basically. It was in a Lushan Falls or whatever.
Yeah, Lushan Peaks or something like that. We're probably getting it a little off, but close enough.
Yeah.
Then there's Andromeda, which was Shun's.
Yeah, Andromeda Island, basically, which is... If anybody doesn't understand what Andromeda is the... Andromeda sacrificed herself. She changed herself to sacrifice herself. Basically, that's why I think that's why they changed Shun into a female, because Andromeda is actually a female armor.
Netflix don't respect the cross-dressers or effeminate people.
Right. That's why they changed it. Then there's Iki armor that was in Death Queen Island in the volcano. He literally had to spend time in the most hottest spot without burning his ass off, which is in lava. That's how badass he is. He sat in lava without burning to death.
Yeah.
But Hyuga was in cold land. But that's where his mama was.
Yep, his mom was on a ship that sunk to the bottom of the ocean and frozen in ice, and his dream one day is to have ice powerful enough of his own to melt it so he can
his mother's name is Natasha. They never really got into the anime. They never really said her name, but it's in the manga. The mother's name is Natasha.
Maybe it's in Hades or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but it's in the manga. That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah, all five Saints are very distinct. I'd say as the show goes on, his writing gets better with them. Again, Sanctuary arc is when it really picks up. The arc leading into Sanctuary with the Silver Saints, some of the filler fights, like I said, it can feel a little meh by comparison, because when you see Shiryu fight Perseus, you know which fight I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
The dude with a shield that turns you to stone.
Yeah. Basically the Medusa shield, where Shiryu has to do something to block something, and he does something to certain something, and he survives, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Shiryu has to fucking blind himself, because everyone turns to stone that looks at it. So he gouges out his own eyes.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome that he has to do that, and it works really well with his character, too. And then after that, he has to basically build himself up again and learn to fight blindly. Because he's like, I'm gonna have to retire as a saint, and he basically has to have talked out of it and learn how to do blind fighting. So when Sanctuary Arc starts, there's a section where they get trapped in a maze of illusions. Shiryu's the only one it doesn't affect, because again, he's blind. So I think that was one of the really well done aspects of it. I mean, obviously he gets his vision back later in that arc, but I still think that was really well handled with him. Then you have Hyoga, who's constantly forced to fight ice people from his past. So his mentor, then Poseidon, doesn't he have to fight his best friend or something like that? His former side student also?
Former trading partner from Siberia. Yeah. They was both training to be the Cygnus Knight.
Cygnus Saint, yeah.
But Hyoga became at first, then the other guy became the Ice Knight of Poseidon.
Yeah. If I had, I guess one criticism for it, it's that the Sanctuary, Asgard, and Poseidon arcs, Athena can feel like a damsel in distress in all three of them, if you marathon it especially. Because in Sanctuary, she's hit with the gold arrow. Then in Asgard, isn't it where she'll die if the sun sets, or something like that?
Basically what it is she's standing at the sea of trying to keep the sea from...
Yeah, or rising, and it'll eventually...
and
then in Poseidon's arc, she'll drown because the water is flooding in the room she's in.
She's in the main breadwinner, basically, which is the main pillar of the ocean.
Yeah, so it can feel a little samey as far as Athena goes, but everything else I feel is perfectly fine. Seiya's character arc is really well handled, with him not giving a shit about being a saint in the beginning, but then eventually having to accept the responsibility of it. Then you have Hyoga having to learn to give up his past and move forward.
And what makes Athena more human is she was cold towards Seiya in the first part of the series, but as time goes on, she became a little bit more romantically attached to him, basically. She kind of has a thing for Seiya.
Everyone has a thing for Seiya.
And in a way, I think Seiya has a kind of a thing for Athena, too.
Gonna make shippers happy.
But the problem is, too, is there's another woman in the mix, too, that kind of wants Seiya, too, which is China. As we all know, is with Silver Saints of the women, if they show their face to a man, they either gotta kill him or love him. Well, she wants to love him, but in the way, she's like one of the tsundere people where she can't really be...
She's very tsundere for Seiya.
Yeah, she can't decide if she really wants to be with him or really wants to kill him.
Yeah, then there's, so with Hyoga, his whole thing is, because he wants to see his mom again and everything else, they constantly have him show that he's tied down by the past and doesn't know how to move forward. So when his master basically makes the ship in the Sanctuary arc sink even deeper into the ocean, he's doing it as a way to help him move forward and stop having the past chain him down. Just like when he fights his friend later on in the Poseidon arc, it's him having to cut more ties with his past and learn to live for himself. And then you have Shiryu, whose whole thing is he wants to try keeping his master's legacy and living up to his expectations. I think Shiryu's, doesn't his character arc seem like the type of something like Bruce Lee or something? Yeah, training under waterfalls and everything.
Yes, he's trying to prove himself that the stereotypical Japanese or whatever hell this fighting style is, trying to prove himself, basically.
Yep. And he has the whole old mentor figure as well. You could tell that he took inspiration from martial arts films when writing Shiryu's character arc.
Right.
Then you have Shun, who's forced to basically learn that there are some battles you need to fight, and
yes, that
you need to be more courageous and stop letting everyone walk all over you, that you need to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing is about Shun was, he's like, every time somebody hit him, he was like,
I don't want to fight you.
He would give up. Yeah, he gives up in an instant. Why can't we just be friends? Why do we have to always fight? Brother, quit fighting me. let's, all this other stuff. And every time he sees his brother, it's like, brother. It's like, seriously, Shun, we know you got a brother complex. Just let it slide.
Right, he's like, can we be friends? Like, this guy killed, like, when he's fighting some of them, and it's like, this person killed people, right? I don't care. I don't want to fight them. I want to be their friend.
Yeah, he even tried to make it. He tried to make friends with everybody. That's one thing.
He's the one person. He needs to have the lesson beaten into him every time.
But as the anime got going, he actually started manning up after a while.
Oh, he does, especially by the end during the Poseidon arc, when he realizes that he will have to take a life in order to save the greater good.
Yeah, as he already stated that he knows that Seiya, Shiryu, Hyoga, and Ikki are willing to take lives, and he was the only one that's willing to go that far.
Speaking of Ikki, he's the last main character I guess we'll touch up upon. His whole thing is he needs to learn to open up again and to accept others' help, because after what happened to his love, Esmeralda, I'm pretty sure her name was.
Yes.
He, closed himself off and, yeah, it's like, I'm gonna go fight on my own, I don't need any of you. And basically leaves after his redemption arc at the beginning, and doesn't show up again for a while.
Yeah, he shows up sporadically, but in Hades he's more evolved.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Because he learns to stop being a loner as the show goes on, and considers them friends. Because in the beginning he's like, I'm only fighting with you guys as Saints of Athena. I don't care about any of you except Shun. But then he actually calls Seiya and all of them comrades as it goes on.
Brothers, actually.
Yeah.
Like, they're saying the same, brothers from the same age, same time, same training camp, and all this other stuff.
Yeah. And it should be noted, since we briefly touched up upon the Asgard arc, we mentioned it earlier, it is filler, but it's actually mandatory filler, because it leads straight into Poseidon and has heavy references from it.
Right.
And it's actually not a bad filler arc. Granted, some of the fights you could say might feel a little samey from the Sanctuary, but I don't think it's a terrible arc at all. I really enjoyed watching it.
Oh yeah, here's another thing we should, I don't know if we should touch on or not, is that how all the saints actually came to be, because this guy Mishimoto Kido was the one that searched far and wide for all the saints to protect Athena.
Because he saw he saw the prophecy of Hades or something like that, which is why he sought out Athena.
Basically what it was is Aeolus, a gold saint, was protecting the reincarnation of Athena when she was a baby, and the Pope tried to kill her. So basically, he was leaving Sanctuary, then one of the Gold Knights decided to chase after Aeolus, mortally wounding Aeolus, and he was on the outskirts of the Sanctuary, which Masumito Kido was. He gave him the baby and the gold cloth, told him everything what was going on in Sanctuary and all our other stuff that he needs to
raise the baby and have saints trained to protect her.
Yes. And then he started looking into all this constellation stuff, stars, and saw other stuff, and then she was when she was a youngin, she was a very bitchy person.
She kind of was. I got everything mixed up, because wasn't it the reason the Pope was trying to kill her, you find out, because they were at first like, oh, it was for power, but then it's implied because of the whole Hades thing in the future or something.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
You'll find out more stuff out later on whenever it's dubbed.
They better dub Hades. Because honestly, that's the other thing about the reboot. The reboot from episode 1 just starts spamming you with stuff about Hades, like they're trying to rush as much as possible. So
see, right now, that's why it's on the cusp of A right now. I would have given an A+, but not right now, because we only got up to the Poseidon arc done. We have not got the full experience just yet. That's why I just gave it an A.
Yeah, and you can tell that when you get to the end of the Poseidon arc, you can tell there's supposed to be more. Because the arc does end. It ends at an okay spot, but it just feels like this is incomplete right now.
The one thing I got to say is the Hades arc is split up in 3 different parts. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's 3 separate seasons of OVAs or OVAs.
Yes.
I hope they also dubbed the Saint Seiya movies, too.
I think they said they are, but I don't know when it or where. A lot of these movies, yes, do take place right after, but they say they're really filler, but in a way, one movie is not filler.
It should also be noted one of the films was the Asgard arc that they rewrote into the anime because of how well it was received, and they extended it. And, yeah, it actually feels like an okay rewrite, and from what I heard, a lot of people agree that it's better than the super rewrites of Battle of Gods or Resurrection F. But, in the sense of this not dragging on much longer, I guess, since we've droned on a long time. Again, think Saint Seiya is amazing. It's a really great show. We still need the rest of it dubbed, and who knows, maybe Netflix can get on the Fist of the North Star, one of the other shonen greats that isn't dubbed yet.
Which is also an 80s anime.
As far as Saint Seiya, there's still more we have left to cover on it. There's Lost Canvas of Cavanos, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, Los Cavanos Part 1 and Los Cavanos Part 2. Then there's Soldier Soul whenever it decides to get dubbed. You know, Gold Soul of Gold. Then there's Omega whenever they get around to that. That takes place after Hades.
Then you have all the films. Then you have a bunch of other shit. There's also the ADV dub we'll probably talk about at some point. We're not talking about the reboot again, guys. I'm not.
That one only went up to 6. That's the only one that only went up to some of the up to the Sanctuary.
I think it ends during. I think it ends during the Scorpio fight, like right in the middle of it. If memory serves.
Yeah, it ends abruptly right there.
Yeah, and that was due to licensing.
Yeah, it's because it went.
Yep, and Deke refused to give them any more to English dub.
Yeah. And plus, they couldn't keep paying Bowling Soup for the license for the music for the Saint Seiya.
That opening is terrible for Saint Seiya.
That's why I like the Japanese opening of Pegasus Fantasy. I don't knock anything that Bowling Soup did for it, but they kind of rushed it.
I don't think it was their fault. I think they were just told to make a song or whatever. And
yeah, I think they made them. I think what they said is like, "Oh, this show it's going to be dubbed. You got
2 weeks. You have to write this song." I don't know.
They tried to translate the Japanese one, but they.
I will give the reboot that at least. It does use Pegasus Fantasy as its opening. That's about all I can say about it. And for those of you that might be curious to watch the reboot, don't. Just don't. It's one of those...
I never watch... I was watching...
They changed everyone's names, and they cut... The first 12 episodes rushes straight to Sanctuary because they were in a hurry, and it's not fun. Just watch the original now that it's fully dubbed, and, 114 episodes, that's plenty to binge. You'll be there a while. And who knows, maybe by the time you guys catch up, the rest of it will be dubbed, Hades and all that.
Right.
As far as where Saint Seiya is going to go in the future, I don't know. I don't know if Toei's going to make another season or not. They might.
They did make one, but they're all female.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I don't even know what that one's called.
Whoa. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Don't worry, I'm sure Netflix will turn around tomorrow and say, you guys want the Hades arc? Well, too bad. We're doing the reboot season 3! But from what I looked up, the reboot was allegedly canceled. I don't know, which if it was, good. I want Netflix to focus on the original instead in the first place. But yeah, guys, so go watch Saint Seiya. We rambled on this for a long time, I guess. Plenty more to be said about it, but we'll save that until next time when we cover more Saint Seiya. Who knows what it'll be.
Right.
Well, glad you joined me on this one, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Well, hope you guys have a good day, and let us know what you thought of Saint Seiya. Maybe you liked it even more than we did, or maybe you hated it. I don't know. But, yeah, let us know below. And if you guys have any other shows you want us to cover, leave them down in the comments, and maybe we'll cover them eventually. Until next time, guys, though, I was Elvis X, and you were...
Manslayergoku.
And we'll be back with more Dubster Dive. So thanks again for watching. Until next time, guys. Bye!